Last episode, we taught the home how to answer a deceptively simple question. Who is engaging?
Identity confidence established. Candidate identity. Tom. Confidence. High.
And that feels like the end of the story. The home knows it's Tom. Problem solved, right?
Not even close. Identity answered who? Operational trust answers a very different question.
Identity determines who is engaging. Operational trust determines what is appropriate.
So if the home believes this is Tom, what is it allowed to do next? Why isn't identity enough?
Because knowing and acting are different decisions.
Just because I can do something does not mean I should.
Give me an example.
Suppose the home believes it's me. High confidence. Identity has done its job. Now the home needs to determine whether it should actually act on that information.
Identity establishes confidence. Operational trust evaluates whether that confidence is sufficient for the requested action.
So identity says, I think this is Tom. Operational trust says, what would be appropriate?
Exactly.
So what level of confidence should be required?
That's actually the wrong question.
Why?
Because there isn't one correct answer. A single person living alone may have very different expectations than a family. A couple may have different expectations than a multi-generational household. A privacy-focused household may make different choices than a highly personalized household.
Operational trust does not determine household values. Operational trust applies household values consistently.
And that's important. It would be arrogant for us to decide what level of certainty is appropriate for every household. The framework provides governance. The household decides what appropriate means.
The framework applies values. The household members define those values.
Last episode, we talked about the creepy house problem. The idea that a home might know too much about the people living there.
And that concern is completely valid. A behaves well home should never assume participation.
Participation is optional.
What does that even mean?
The home only uses evidence that people choose to provide and consent to. Some households may use voice prints, others may not. Some may allow extended family members to participate. Others may limit participation to residents. The important thing is that participation is a choice, not an assumption.
Voice identity evidence is available only for consenting enrolled participants.
So the home doesn't automatically build profiles on everyone?
Absolutely not. Participation requires consent. The household decides what participation means. Consent determines what evidence the home may use. Operational trust ensures those choices are applied consistently and respectfully.
The more evidence participants choose to provide, the more confidently I can personalize their experience.
Okay, let's go back to our example. The home believes this is Tom, high confidence. Now Tom asks, what's on my calendar today?
Identity confidence remains high.
Shouldn't the answer be straightforward?
Not necessarily. Who's in the room?
What does that have to do with anything?
Everything. Suppose I'm alone. That may produce one answer. Suppose David is standing nearby. That may produce another. Suppose there is a guest present, or a contractor, or someone the home has not yet identified.
Identity result unchanged. Audience context changed.
So the home isn't only evaluating who asked.
The home evaluates who is listening.
And that's one of the most important lessons in operational trust.
The home already knows what's on your calendar.
Correct.
So why not simply say it?
Because knowing something and sharing something are different decisions.
Knowledge and disclosure are separate responsibilities.
Can you give me an example?
Suppose my calendar contains an item marked private. If I'm alone, the home may provide more detail. If guests are present, the home may choose a different response. If confidence is insufficient, the home may choose not to disclose details at all.
Privacy markings, audience awareness, confidence, and household policy may all influence disclosure decisions.
That's a very different way of thinking about privacy.
Exactly. The question is not, can the home know? The question is, should the home share?
Let's talk about confidence requirements.
This is where operational trust becomes very practical. Not every capability requires the same confidence.
Turn on the light. Required confidence. None.
Makes sense.
Welcome home, Tom. Required confidence. Low. Apply Tom's music preferences. Required confidence. Moderate. Disarm the alarm. Required confidence. High. Read Tom's email. Required confidence. High. Read David's email. Required confidence. Very high.
Why are those different?
Because capabilities are different. The home may know it's Tom. That doesn't automatically mean every capability should be available.
Confidence requirements belong to the capability.
And those requirements belong to the household, not the framework.
Let's ask the same question again. What's on my calendar today?
Candidate identity. Tom. Confidence. High.
Now what?
Now we evaluate context.
Such as?
Private conversation, guest present, contractor present, family gathering, late night, away from home.
Identity result unchanged. Context changed.
So the same request can produce a different answer.
Correct.
That's one of the most powerful concepts in operational trust.
Same request. Different context. Different outcome.
Episode 4 taught us that unknown is a valid answer.
Operational trust teaches another important lesson. Not now is also a valid answer.
Can I stay up later tonight?
This decision belongs to your parent.
Interesting. The home understood the request.
Yes, the home knew who asked. The home understood the question. The home still chose not to decide.
Knowing the answer does not always mean the home should answer.
That's a surprisingly human response.
Exactly.
Episode 4 taught us that identity should be explainable. Does that continue here?
Absolutely. The home should be able to explain operational trust decisions too.
For example,
Guest present. Calendar item marked private. Detailed calendar information withheld.
that's it?
Yes.
The explanation doesn't need to be complicated. It needs to be understandable.
Operational trust decisions should be explainable.
Let's bring everything together. What exactly does operational trust evaluate?
Identity confidence. Audience awareness. Context. Consent. Disclosure. Privacy. Policy. Capability requirements.
That's a lot.
It is. Because operational trust isn't simply making permission decisions. Operational trust is determining what is appropriate.
Operational trust does not determine who. Operational trust determines what is appropriate.
And the household determines what appropriate means.
Exactly.
So let's summarize. Truth taught us.
What is true?
Identity taught us.
Who is engaging?
Operational trust teaches us.
What is appropriate?
And that may be the most important lesson. A behaves well home does not impose values. It implements values. The household decides what appropriate means. The home applies those decisions consistently, respectfully, and explainably.
Truth determines what is true. Identity determines who is engaging. Operational trust determines what is appropriate. The household determines what appropriate means.
We've spent this entire episode talking about operational trust, consent, privacy, audience awareness, context, capability requirements. Looking at this picture now, It feels like we've been walking through it the whole time.
That's exactly what we've been doing. This isn't introducing something new. It's showing how all of those concepts come together. At the center is operational trust. And operational trust exists to answer a single question. What is allowed?
The same question we've been asking all episode.
Identity established, who is engaging. Operational trust determines what is appropriate.
Exactly. And notice where the process begins. Trust doesn't start from scratch. Identity hands trust an identity conclusion and a confidence level. Everything we discussed in episode 4 becomes an input into trust.
Identity confidence received. Trust evaluation begins.
These are the ideas we've been discussing all episode.
Right. Authorization. Privacy. Permissions. Verification. Confidence. Operational trust evaluates all of these together. Not because the home is trying to make life difficult, because different situations deserve different behavior.
The same request may produce different outcomes depending on context.
Which brings us back to the calendar example.
Exactly. The home may know my calendar. That doesn't automatically mean it should share it. Audience awareness matters. Privacy matters. Confidence matters. Context matters. Operational trust brings those considerations together.
And operational trust isn't just evaluating information.
No. It governs both information and capabilities. Calendar information. Communication. Preferences. Tasks. Household functions. But also doors. Climate. Media. Schedules. Scenes. Any capability the home provides.
Knowing is separate from sharing. Capability is separate from permission.
We also talked about households defining their own values. I can see that here too.
Yes. Residents. Family members. Guests. Service providers. Different households may make different decisions regarding access. Operational trust doesn't decide those values. Operational trust applies those values consistently.
Access adapts to role, relationship, context, location, and time.
And all of this work produces these outcomes. Predictable. Consistent. Explainable. Respectful. Secure. Transparent. Competent.
And that's really the goal. Operational trust isn't trying to control people. It's trying to ensure the home behaves appropriately. Those outcomes are what appropriate behavior looks like.
Operational trust evaluates what is appropriate. The goal is trustworthy behavior.
But then we arrive here. Another bridge.
Because trust isn't the end of the journey either. Trust determines what is allowed. But another question still remains.
Even after we know what's true, who is engaging, and what's allowed, we still haven't decided what matters most.
Trust evaluation complete. Awaiting stewardship guidance.
And that's where the next responsibility begins.
Let's see if I've got it. Truth taught the home what is happening. Identity helped the home understand who is engaging. Operational trust helped the home determine what is appropriate.
Truth establishes facts. Identity establishes confidence regarding who is engaging. Operational trust determines what is appropriate.
And all of that seems like the whole story. Until you realize something important. A home can know what's happening. A home can know who's involved. A home can know what actions are appropriate. And still not understand what matters most.
Exactly. Because not every person, relationship, asset, experience, responsibility, or obligation carries the same importance. Some things require care. Some things require protection. Some things require attention. And some things matter more than others.
People, pets, relationships, experiences, preferences, comfort, and safety.
So after truth, identity, and operational trust, the next question becomes, what matters?
And that question leads us directly to stewardship.
Operational trust evaluation complete. Determining what matters next. Preparing stewardship.
Next time, how does a home know what matters?
Operational trust evaluation complete. Determining what matters next. Preparing stewardship.